Steven,
Mm-hmm.
how'd you enjoy that extra hour of sleep?
Oh, I didn't even. I forgot about that.
I know.
Yeah, it was okay. No, it was
Well,
fun.
for a guy that always wakes up in the morning, I figured you would appreciate it today, but you didn't even realize, huh?
Yeah, maybe I'll appreciate it a little more tomorrow.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably appreciate it a little more tomorrow because I was like awake during the time change, so
Oh,
really went
okay.
back in time. If you
Christopher
wanna
Lloyd.
look at it that way. Yeah, my question is like, how are they gonna get rid of daylight savings? Do they just not? They just don't push the hour back. Just keep the clocks the way they are. Like whenever someone
Well,
says get rid of daylight savings, I'm like, how?
we just won't do anything.
All right.
Well, that's the thing is like, yes, I enjoy the extra hour of sleep, but I also hate, with especially the hours I work now. It's gonna be pitch black outside at 6 o'clock, and it'll be pitch black outside by 5 o'clock now.
Mm,
And I just
yeah.
hate that feeling of
It, it
feeling
it
like you worked all day in the sunshine and then you're out and it's dark.
it's just like, are you gonna tell all the clocks in the United States, like all the oven clocks and everything that push, or do they actually change? They don't actually change, do
Oven
they? You have
clocks do not change. Our
yeah,
phones
yeah.
change.
Our phones change. Our phones will be able to do that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. Huh? How about that?
Well, are you in favor of it or are you against it?
I don't care. Either way, I'm waking up in the morning. It's dark. Doesn't
That's
matter what
true.
hour it is.
That is
Maybe
true.
it's gonna get light a little later than usual, but by the time I'm out of the door and on the way to work, it's dark. By the time I'm getting home, it's still bright as day, no matter what.
Yeah, but I kind of like the feeling. I like even though we lose sleep in the springtime, I prefer that because I like the sunshine out like during the summertime at 8 o'clock. Like
Yeah.
now that it's gonna be super dark at 5 o'clock, it's like, oh damn, this is depressing. But I
Yeah.
mean, the sleep is needed.
But
I do like that sleep.
if it's gray and like, I don't know, it's gray and it's getting darker, it's just like it's a depressing view. Like when it's the summer, fine, but like when it's here during the winter time and it's all like just gloomy and ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. I
everybody
agree with you
has
though. I like having the sunshine out at
yeah.
the end of the night and all that, and the fact that it's light out longer. Yes, I like that.
Every year we always have the same debates when it comes to daylight savings, and in the end, nothing happens. Of course, there are those states that don't observe it, like Arizona, for whatever reason they do that.
Yeah, Arizona's in their own little bubble, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Just Your Pregame Show, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Stephen, you have been a Giants fan for most of your life,
Uh-huh.
and you remember Dusty Baker as the manager for the Giants, and last night he won the World Series for the Houston Astros. Tell me your feelings.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, I was happy for the guy, and I got really emotional and almost had a tear.
For
But
Dusty? A
yeah,
Dusty tier?
of course, yeah. Just no, I was just like a little dust got in the room. Um, but watching that last night was really cool. And then when I think back to 2002, I'm like, well, if you just did not make that one pitching change, we wouldn't be doing this whole charade here, where it's like, we got to put up graphics of how many games it's been since
Charade or charade?
charade, whatever.
Pink Floyd said charade. Anyway.
But like, it's as I'm watching, I'm like, of course I'm happy for him, and it's just amazing that I think what is he 73?
73.
Yeah, it's amazing that a 73-year-old like won the World Series for the first time. It's been 2,000 and whatever games. It's like between 2,000 and 2,100. I can't remember the exact number, but like, you also did it to yourself, kinda. Like, you should have you should have made that pitching change in Game 6. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be talking about this 20 years later. But nevertheless, still happy for him.
We actually had Russ Ortiz on a couple weeks ago on the day, the anniversary, the 20th anniversary. He was cool about it. He had the nicest things to say about Dusty, but there is something that still haunts him, obviously, with the decision. Like I guess he went with the flow. Like there's been reports that if Russ wanted to stay in the game, then Dusty was going to let him stay in the game. But Russ already at that point knew that Dusty wanted him out, so he just succumbed and came out.
Yeah, that sucks.
It
I
does
don't
kind
know.
of suck.
But Russ Ortiz was never like, well, the reason he was nice about it, but he was never like the boisterous pitcher type who's gonna like yell at his coach in the dugout telling him to keep me in and or go back and start hitting the cooler with a baseball bat.
It's on you, Russ. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, of course it's gonna haunt him though. I mean, hell, Marshawn won a championship and they still talk about he should have ran the football. Like it's still a thing, So it's of course it's always going to, especially when you didn't win one.
Yeah, no. But Dusty gets off the schneid and he gets the World Series championship along with being known as the guy that invented the high five, which I still find a little dubious. But yeah, good on Dusty. And now he gets to celebrate in Houston with his good friends Snoop Dogg and Bill Cosby. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, he received texts from them.
Yeah, I just can't wait for that parade float. It's just, hey, there's Dusty Baker, and oh my God.
Yeah.
You see, Dusty's here with me. No.
And what else? Like you got those two, and there was a after Verlander started, he compared or he looked at Verlander's start because Verlander kept on like getting runners on. There was like runners in scoring position for damn near every inning when he was on there. And like after the game, Baker said that, I go back to these words that my friend Tommy John once told me, my old teammate. And it's like, what? Tommy John? Jesus.
Yeah.
No,
I heard that the other night, and you realize how long Dusty's been in the game. And I guess he's going to keep managing because he said, Big Papi asked him right after the broadcast or the game. He said, is this it? And he goes, well, I always said if I'm going to win one World Series, I want to win another one. So sounds like it's 73 years old. Dusty Baker will be back for 74 years.
Yeah.
Of his life.
And well, and you know what too? Like when he was put into the managerial role, I've never felt more terrible for anyone in sports. When he basically had to answer questions for the Astros cheating. Remember that little press conference they held, that phony press conference where it was like, Jim Crane and I think Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve and then Dusty Baker was there. It's like, why does he have to answer questions? Like he wasn't involved in this. He's just taking a manager job.
That was unfair.
It was so unfair. So yeah, it's on multiple levels. Still glad to see him win, but still think about that time in 2002. I'm over it. But
I mean, Giants have won 3 since then. Dusty got his ring, so I think it's all good now.
It's going to be a funny little footnote on the Giants' ass.
Exactly. And I have a question for you, though, Stephen. Let's just say, hypothetically, that Dusty Baker decides to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Cora got his job back. I still think A.J. Hinch got a raw deal. That's just my opinion. I know that some people are going to say, like, well, was he totally oblivious to what was going on? My reaction to the whole cheating scandal from the Houston Astros is this. Their apology sucked. Kind of like Kyrie Irving's, and I'll get to that later. But their apologies sucked. So that didn't help with their look of what they did and everything. But I am not naive to think that they were the only ones doing that. And I thought it was kind of childish of people in baseball, players, to be like, oh, screw the Astros, when I'm not naive. Like I still believe that there was a lot of teams doing the same exact thing, maybe not to the same extent, but I believe that it was going on. So my question to you is, just getting through all that, A.J. Hinch was fired because he was the manager of that team that cheated. They're going to go through a whole rebuild with the Detroit Tigers. If Dusty Baker decides to retire, shouldn't A.J. Hinch get his job back as manager of the Houston Texans? I think so.
The Houston Texans?
Oh, sorry, the Houston Astros, yeah.
You're in football mode on a Sunday.
I am. Well, we're going to get there eventually, people. Calm down.
To be honest, I've never really thought about it. I mean, like, I agree with you about the whole Astros thing. I think people just they have something that they could, use as
complain
like
about
crutch, and you're going to do that every time that you watch the Astros. It's like they won a World Series and it's like, oh, they still bang trash cans. It's like, well, they just won the World Series and it seems like they've done it fair and square. They still got a pretty damn good team.
I don't know. That one pitcher was, wiping the ball a lot. Oh my God.
And then, I haven't really thought about it though. Like, personally, I think A.J. Hinch should stay with Detroit because even though they are in a rebuild, they just got a couple of guys in Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, and they got a bunch of young prospects coming up. So he can basically
Scott Harris too.
Yeah. So, he can basically maybe he can, you know what he could do? He could reestablish himself and, you know what, build a team from like the Tigers from really the ground up essentially, and maybe bring them back to winning a championship. Like, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but maybe that's something that's in the interest of him instead of like just going back to the Astros because, you know, they're really good and he could possibly win one again. So I don't know. It depends on what he wants, but I don't know. Would he really want to go back to Houston though? Like the way that he was
Yes.
treated, the way that he was treated,
Well,
you know,
I
like
mean, Alex Cora was a scapegoat with the Red Sox. Or
right.
maybe that was just a thing that they had to do because of the public backlash. Carlos Beltran was named manager of the Mets and then had that job taken away from him within weeks.
Yeah. Actually, you already just brought up a good point. Dusty versus Bochy. Wow.
Yeah,
That-
next season. Yep.
That's going to be quite an American League West matchup right there. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, I still can't believe that Bochy's coming back, but it sounds like he's been given full control of the Texas Rangers to do whatever he want, slash the, analytics that will probably be given to him, but he'll just be like, I'm not doing that crap.
Well,
So
he kind of used he's kind of mentioned it. He kind of used analytics before, like when he was with the Giants previously. It's just
yeah,
no-
but not to the extent that Farhan wants him to.
not to that extent, but still like using it to their benefit. So it's not like
No,
every single move was made like through gut and feeling and, genius of the game. Like some of it was helped with numbers.
No, I'm sure that Bochy will take that into account, but he wants basically, I don't think he wants the GM giving him a card saying this is what you're going to do every day. That's what a
Right.
lot of managers have to do now. And Chris Young is was his former player with the Padres, and he's the GM of the Rangers, so he gives him full reign. I'm sure they'll give him suggestions, but at the end, Bochy's going to do whatever the hell he wants.
Man, Chris Young, that dude was like 6'8", really tall. That's what I remember about him. 6'8", threw really slow.
Are you saying tall guys can't be GMs?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
I'm glad you made that clear to everybody.
Farhan's not a tall guy. Theo Epstein kind of tall. I don't know.
Bob Myers tall.
Bob Myers is tall, but that's a
Play
basketball
basketball.
GM. That's different.
Speaking
That's
of which,
basketball.
we'll get to football, everybody. Don't you worry. Not a great slate of games today, but we'll get to it all. Real quick, Steven. You worried about the Warriors?
No. I mean,
There we go. That's all needs to be said.
It's not looking good right now, and the growing pains are going to be there. Like there's something up with the team. They're not the same off the bench, that's for sure.
But
what?
But it's November,
Yeah.
and they had a long. The season has been pushed up earlier every season. Like they just won the finals to me, and they're already back at it. I think it's too quick of a turnaround. They had the long finals run. Excuse me. They had the long finals run. I'm getting so choked up about it. They had the long finals run. They went to Tokyo. They had to deal with all the bullshit with Draymond. It's okay, everybody. Wake me up if they're below 500 at the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like they could be though. Like
Let's not go that far. Come on.
I know, but you just lost to the Magic, and you keep on fouling. And like I don't know, last year, like I think they were really in terms of fouling, they did it just as much as anybody in the league. So like they won the championship too. So I'm not too concerned with that, but I don't know, man. Like watching this back, it's kind of like in previous years where Steph Curry goes off the court, they're in trouble, but it's not just Steph now. It's like whenever any of those starters get off the court, then they seem to be in trouble. Like, I don't know. I want to see improvement from Jordan Poole. If there's anyone that I want to see an improvement from, like Poole needs to play better. He's not as confident as he was. He's not knocking down threes at a good rate, like at a frequent rate. So I don't know. That's like if I'm gonna single out any player, it'd be him that I want to see some improvements from. It's not Clay, it's Poole.
Are you saying that Jordan Poole needs a little shot in the arm?
Yeah. I'm saying, yeah. What do you need?
Maybe the face? No,
yeah, I know, right? But no, I think he needs to play better. Like that's just it. He's leading the bench. He's supposed to be the sixth man. You got to pick him up whenever someone goes out, and he hasn't done that so far. So I don't know. We'll see.
I get it, but this is the worst start they've ever had coming off a championship, and they went through a lot of crap in the offseason. I'm surprised they never had a sluggish start like this before, going to Tokyo and everything. Let's give it some time. And
Yeah.
a lot of teams are bad right now. So I'd say let's just let it play out a little bit. I know that's like the the weakest answer and everything, but we've seen this before in the Warriors turning around. They may not win the championship this season. They very well could. Like last season, they after the All-Star break or during the All-Star break, whatever it was, they lost like 4 in a row, whatever it was, and we were thinking like, oh my god, the 3 seed, they're not going to win. Let's all relax, relax.
Yeah,
All right.
good luck with that. Warriors Twitter is worse than any. Like, there's certain
No,
teams have
don't say
certain
that.
Twitter,
There's a lot of bad Twitter these days.
but Warriors Twitter is always terrible.
Well, yeah, Warriors Twitter, Niners Twitter. Twitter in general sucks. And I know we're on Twitter right now, but every day I'm getting a little closer, Steven, to being like, maybe we should just do this shit on YouTube because Twitter is becoming something I can't stand a lot. So
Yeah.
that's something we can talk about later. But let's talk about some football.
Ooh.
So me and Alon did a little midweek show this past week, and we reacted to all the games and the trades. And this time last week, you and I were talking, and I was thinking that there may have been a lot of hoopla with the rumors going on with trade deadline, and that was not the case. There was a plethora of trades that went down. A big one on Monday with Roquan Smith, and then like 10 on Tuesday that were all kind of weird, but also surprising. None involving the Packers, none involving the Rams. The Niners got in and traded away Jeff Wilson Jr. But the Dolphins acquire him and also Bradley Chubb. You got Chase Claypool going to the Bears. You got TJ Hawkinson getting traded inside his own division, going from the Lions to the Vikings. Calvin Ridley suspended the whole season for gambling, but yet he's going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar for the future. Steven, just your thoughts on everything that went down trade deadline day.
Yeah, it was funny when we were talking about the Rams. Like, I was looking back on it and thinking, like, what the hell do they have, like, that can actually appease a team in the near future as opposed to 2 or 3 years from now? Like, the one that got me was when they tried trading for Brian Burns. And it's like they reportedly offered 2 first-rounders. Well, someone could deduce that the 2 first-rounders that they're going to offer are 2 years from now.
I said that a week ago, and no one realized that.
But it's like, like what? Oh yeah, you know what? We can offer you 2 first-round picks. Just going to be from 2 years from now. So don't pay attention to the draft this year. Just wait 2 years, and then eventually those picks will be worth it. Just give us
hold
a
on.
defensive end.
Today it was clarified that the actual offer was a 2024 first-round pick and a 2025 first-round pick plus a 2023 second-round pick. So it would have included and actually Cam Akers. So you had 4 entities in that trade offer, and the Panthers said no. Is that still a bad offer from the Rams?
Well, I mean, you got a guy in Akers who I don't know what the hell's happening with him. Second round pick next year, and then 2 first-rounders the years after that. Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't sound that bad to me.
It's like, if I want a first-rounder, just give me the first-rounder this year. Like, I don't want your first-rounder 2 years from now. I want a first-round pick now.
So you're saying it's not a good deal?
Yeah. No. 2024, 2025, I'm not that interested in the
but the Rams don't have that.
Huh?
The Rams don't have that to offer.
No. So, whatever. What was it? The other one, these moves were big, but none of them were like, I don't know, game-changing, like, team-changing. Oh, this is going to change the face of the playoffs. Like the Roquan deal for one to the Ravens. Like, okay, I don't know what the Ravens look like on defense at all, to be honest. So, like, whatever. Maybe that'll improve them. But I do think that the Dolphins were making moves, though, man. Like the Bradley Chubb deal. I think Jeff Wilson's going to be a great get for them. I didn't like the one for the 49ers. Like, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all. They still got Christian McCaffrey, and, it's pretty clear that they think Elijah Mitchell's going to come back. So really, where would Jeff Wilson be on this team? He's going to be the number 3 running back. You wouldn't get him much playing time. So now he's going to go to the Dolphins, where he is going to be the number 2 to Raheem Mostert, funnily enough. But there wasn't any, like, the quantity was just so massive, the biggest in NFL history, but like the quality of those trades, none of them really like blew me away. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's fair. I think I was just surprised at the volume of trades that were done that day.
For sure.
And Bradley Chubb, I wasn't surprised about, but I guess it makes sense for the Broncos. They don't have a first round pick next season. They get one now because of the Miami Dolphins offer and all those. I mean, the the trade with the Dolphins for the third overall pick for the Niners.
Mm.
I mean, the Dolphins got Tyreek Hill, they drafted Jalen Waddle, and they got Bradley Chubb with all those picks. And we still don't know what Trey Lance is with the 49ers.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting to me. The one that I'm interested to see that I think will pay off the biggest is probably TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings. Because that offense, they've been playing well. They're 6-1. But adding a tight end to that mix will make them that much better. I still think none of the trades that were made on deadline day were as big as McCaffrey going to the Niners. I don't think I think Robert Quinn could have a huge sack in a playoff game for the Eagles, but at the same time, to carry where the Niners were to where they could be now, maybe being the second best team in the NFC, and obviously we saw the impact he had in the game a week ago where he scored 3 touchdowns through the air, rushing, and threw one actually as well. We haven't seen that since LaDainian Tomlinson did it against the Raiders, funny enough, in 2005. So I don't think any trade will have the impact that the Niners did with making that move for McCaffrey.
Yeah, and when everyone's getting healthy after their bye week, supposedly, like at least everyone on offense, like you're gonna have Elijah Mitchell coming back. It's looking pretty. He seems pretty confident that he's gonna return from that sprained MCL. So, I mean, if you got, the offensive line sure it's not that great. You're probably going to see a better outing from them in the future, and they were good against the Rams, I think, if I remember correctly. It feels like it was so long ago, but man, when you got Debo back, then you're probably going to have Juszczyk, even though he is playing with a broken finger, and McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell and Kittle and Ayuk. Maybe Jawan Jennings comes back
and Jimmy.
I mean, boy. What?
Well, the Jimmy part that's the part where I'm like, everybody slow your roll a little bit. I get it. They will be better, but like just saying all those names, like it's funny how Niner fans are to me. Like,
what? So wait, what? Now you think like Jimmy's not going to win them games?
No, but what I'm saying is that
your quarterback's the weakest talent on that offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not like they have a supreme talent at quarterback.
Yeah.
Now McCaffrey does help Jimmy Garoppolo because he doesn't throw it down the field, but he did a little bit last week. I'll give him that. McCaffrey just helps the offense out immensely.
Yeah.
And it's not like I loved everybody's tweets. It was like, oh, McCaffrey's a better throw than Jimmy Garoppolo. But
even though Garoppolo had the one to like Ross Dwelly that almost went to the end zone and it just so happened to stop at the 1 yard line, But
also on that touchdown pass to George Kittle, he threw that way too late. He was open for like seconds before that. But anyway.
Yeah.
My thing is that the Niners will only go as far as Jimmy Garoppolo could take them. And I think that he has done a great job in the past, but he's still got to, do the damn thing in the end. So I think McCaffrey makes them better. I think they're right now the second best team in the NFC. But if you had to ask me right now, I would probably say the Eagles would beat them in the NFC Championship game if I had to say right now.
Yeah, the Eagles are so well-rounded. Like A.J. Brown seems unstoppable. I'm fairly confident that among the those 2019 receivers that we were talking about before the season, all of them that were about to get traded, like I'm fairly confident that I would take, if we had to like redraft all those wide receivers, I'd take A.J. Brown number 1
over DK.
Over DK, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I would. But yeah, that last game, like I said, Jimmy's airplane food. You don't know which kind you're gonna get. Like, what airline are you gonna be riding this time? Like, are you gonna be riding like British Airways, where they give you like this chicken and mashed potatoes and these gross carrots, and they make it seem like it's some sort of incredibly fancy chicken dish? Or is it gonna be like, I don't know,
filet mignon?
I'm just using.
They never serve filet mignon on a plane.
Well, is it going to be like Chet Steadman in Rookie of the Year, Gary Busey, where he's eating the airplane food and he's like, "This is the best Salisbury steak I've ever had in my life." And I'm like,
"That's fair."
Damn, you're a baseball player, and the best Salisbury steak you've ever had is on a plane. But anyway, which one are you going to get from Jimmy? Last in that game against the Rams, you got high quality, like first class food. Jimmy was great in that game, despite that Kittle throw, like you said,
because of McCaffrey, though.
Yeah.
I think McCaffrey's going to make Jimmy Garoppolo a better quarterback, but at the same time, they'll still, there'll still be times where I wonder if he's going to make a ridiculous throw because McCaffrey's taken away, or he just, I will say this. I said it on the podcast earlier this week. The Rams were damn lucky to win that NFC Championship game when they did, because if they were facing 9 straight losses to this team, including that playoff loss, I don't know what the future holds for all of them. Sean
Yeah.
McVay, Les Snead, Matthew Stafford. You make all those moves, and you would do that deal all the time. And was the deal with the devil to win that championship? But still, they have a ton of question marks against that football team. They were just physically intimidated by the San Francisco 49ers. And I was surprised they didn't do any deals at the deadline. They didn't get Kareem Hunt. They didn't, get another pass rusher that they were trying to, they went all in on Brian Burns, but didn't come up with anything. And at the same time, I was surprised that the Green Bay Packers didn't do anything. But it sounds like they tried very hard. This morning, we're hearing all the reports that Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport are saying that the Packers made an offer for Chase Claypool, and they were going to get that deal done. But in the end, the Bears swooped in at the last second, and the Steelers thought that the Bears would be a worse team, so that's a better draft pick. Makes sense. But also, we're hearing today that this was a rumor during draft time, this previous draft, that the Packers were trying to get Darren Waller, and that he was originally a part of the trade compensation for Davante Adams, but then that didn't go through. So in the end, the Raiders just had to trade away a first-round pick and a second-round pick, and they got Davante Adams. Now, it sounds like at the deadline, even though Darren Waller signed a new contract, that the Packers were willing to trade for Darren Waller. And in the end, the Raiders said no. But it's weird to me that they still think that Darren Waller could be had, which makes me like, we're seeing now Darren Waller will not play again today. And this is becoming very frustrating.
Yeah.
I understand. I say this every week that he doesn't play. I understand hamstrings are an issue, but this is a common occurrence with this guy. And in order for this offense to be better than last week, 24-0 shutout that I did not see coming, Darren Waller needs to play. So, Steven, just your thoughts on Darren Waller. And I haven't even asked you about the performance of last week's game.
Oh, that one. Game.
That one.
Yeah, well, that was one of the most embarrassing losses. Like, that's as embarrassing. There have been a lot of embarrassing moments as a Raider fan, but that might have been one of the most embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah, when you fall 24-0 to Andy Dalton and you can't beat Andy Dalton. Isn't Andy Dalton's record against the Raiders like really good? So
I think he's undefeated.
Yeah. So that was just as embarrassing of a loss. The Waller thing, yeah, it's growing more frustrating. But the thing I'm more frustrated with is the fact that you should be able to skate by without Waller. Like, that's the thing with when you have these talented players like Jacobs in the backfield, Devontae, Hunt, like, you can't. And Foster Moreau as a backup tight end. Foster Moreau can be a number one in certain teams, depending on which team you're talking about. Foster Moreau is a very good tight end. Although I think, did he have a drop in that game? I can't remember. But
did Foster Moreau play last week?
Yeah, he played.
I've seen a lot of Jesper Horsted instead.
Oh boy. But you should be able to at least score a point without Darren Waller on your team. I don't know, man. That's a tough one because, like, you trade him, then all of a sudden he's healthy, and it seems like he's, back to looking like the Darren Waller that we all know. I don't know. I think he's too talented to trade him. And as far as the conversations, I don't think the Raiders were entertaining that at all. I mean, maybe the reports are coming out that the Packers were trying hard, but like if you're like a Packers source and you tell an insider like, oh yeah, we tried hard to get Darren Waller and they answered the phone, we had discussions, but it didn't come to anything. Like, I think they really tried hard to get Darren Waller. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is really pushing hard to get Darren Waller, but the Raiders didn't budge. And I mean, whatever. There's nothing to be worried about. Nothing to see here. This is a really good 2-win team. Very good 2-win team. No problems at all, according to Dave Ziegler.
Well, is that exactly what he said, Steven?
No, not really.
Okay. Here's my thing with the Raiders. And I said it the last podcast with Alon. it's just infuriating that there's a feeling out process with this offense with Josh McDaniels. This was supposed to be building off of last year that went 10-7. With all the bullshit that went on with Henry Ruggs and John Gruden, they still found a way to go to the playoffs with Rich Bisaccia. And a lot of people are saying now, did you need to fire Rich Bisaccia? I don't know. I mean, we're in a day in the NFL now where if you don't have a star quarterback or a high profile head coach, then you're not attractive.
Right.
So I understand the move to upgrade to get Josh McDaniels. And you think it's a slam dunk when you get Devontae Adams and you get Chandler Jones, you think you're going to be a better team. But in all reality, they're not right now. And they're still figuring out what kind of team they are. I understand what happened last week. They got down early. Alvin Kamara was a part of trade rumors, and he squashed those immediately with scoring 3 touchdowns and having a Christian McCaffrey game of his own. Which, by the way, the video came out today of Alvin Kamara beating up that guy in Las Vegas. I don't think anything should change. So we saw the same thing with Draymond Green. We knew what happened. The league should have suspended him before the season started. Now they're waiting until the next season. We'll see if Alvin Kamara is even on the Saints next year. But regardless of that conversation, this Raiders offense should never be shut out with the talent that they have. I'm sorry. Like the being shut out is something that happened routinely in 2006 where they had the worst offense I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
To have Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow combine for 9 yards receiving is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when you're down that early, you can't use Josh Jacobs in the running game. So they have to find other creative ways to make them score. And I'm surprised that we're even having this conversation. I'm with you, Steven. Like, yes, this offense should be humming despite Darren Waller not being out there, but they need him out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's always an excuse. Like I've heard, Derek Carr talk about how complex Josh McDaniels' offense is, but you know what? So what? And there's a lot of teams that are having offensive struggles this year. Obviously, the Rams, Packers, Buccaneers. But damn, man, like what are we doing in training camp? Like what are we doing in the off season?
Yeah.
So,
well, it also makes you wonder too. Like, is acquiring all that talent on the offensive side of the ball and locking these guys under contract and getting them on new deals? Like, is it worth not being able to also sign some good offensive linemen? Because the offensive line has been just god awful, man. Like that game against the Saints, I know it's like, they need to be more creative, but man, that offensive line was just letting, like, there was times when Carr was holding on to the ball too long, but man, they were just letting the Saints feast, like just every single time they were getting into the backfield. So like, really, was it worth it to maybe not use some of those assets, some of that money to actually go and try and get a decent offensive line?
I think that the offensive line is good in run protection.
It's obviously really good in run. Yeah, it's great there, but man, it's like you want this. That wasn't supposed to be their bread and butter. They were supposed to be a passing team, and they're not.
Well, we had trepidation about the offensive line going into the season,
for sure.
And yes, that is why that's why the passing game is not developed, is because same thing with the Rams, same thing with the Packers, same thing with the Buccaneers. The Raiders and a lot of teams, those teams I just mentioned, are substituting weapons, high caliber offensive talent for a good offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams now, like, they should hang on to all their picks in order to trade or draft smart in the future to get offensive line help.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Buccaneers. I don't know what the deal is with Tom Brady for the future, but if they want to keep that guy around, they better, improve that offensive line. Same thing with the Raiders. They substituted making sure that Derek Carr had a clean pocket to throw down the field for Devontae Adams to get Devontae Adams. So this is kind of the trade-off you have, and it sucks, but I do think that this offense will come around eventually. Now, I don't know if it's going to be this season, and that's kind of disappointing with how many expectations were put upon this team. Right. And you get frustrated because you're like, well, why can't this offense start humming like Kevin O'Connell just got there with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure his offense is complex. Kirk
For
Cousins
sure.
is doing it. Why can't Derek Carr, like, it falls on Derek too. Like every time he gets a new head coach, there's a feeling out process. And then he starts playing well, the next season or towards the end of the season. And you're like, well, there you go. Where was that all season? It just sucks. And I know you're going to say like, well, Derek Carr kind of sucks more towards November and December. But there are times where, like I remember like the latter part of 2018 with John Gruden when they started winning games against the Steelers or some other good playoff teams where you're like, damn it, man. Like, well, what the hell's going on here? But that 2018 team was gutted. Yeah. The only thing I'll say is that it's been disappointing and they should win today against the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they don't, then oof. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if they can't beat the Jags, it looks like they're to be honest, the Raiders and Jags are kind of in a similar situation, in a weird way. Like, I don't know, these two teams are very similar. As I was just like looking it up before coming on here, I think they have like the kind of same red zone touchdown percentage. So both teams struggle there. They can sometimes move the ball downfield, but really scoring points is an issue. That's going to be interesting to watch today. But yeah, I think also the defense is it's not the defense, but it's just playing complementary football, dude. I'm gonna keep on going about this week after week, but like that's what the good teams do. Complementary football. When the offense is down, has a terrible drive, the defense comes back, gets a stop, and lets the offense get another chance to get back into the game and to, redeem themselves. Like that's what
redeem themselves.
Totally redeem themselves. That's what good teams do. Like that's what the 49ers do. That's what the Eagles do. That's what all the good teams do right now. The Bills are, I don't even know if the Bills play complimentary football. They just play unbelievable football on both sides of the ball every single game. It's not, you know what I mean? Like maybe the defense gives up a score every now and then, but it's like the offense never, well, maybe on a couple of Josh Allen interceptions here and there. But nevertheless, complimentary football, when Carr gets sacked, then it's like the defense somehow lets the opposition drive all the way downfield, take their time. Then, Carr's still thinking about it. Then maybe he's overthinking instead of going to play. And it's just too much, man. It's the lack of complementary football on this team. They're just not good. They're just not.
Yeah, and I think some of it falls on Derek. Like he's got to be a little better, taking more command of the offense. But yeah, we'll see what happens today. Anything could go with this Raider football team at this point. I'm not surprised with anything. They could be great one week or they could be terrible the next.
You know what I want to do is I'm going to look up kind of like the Carr thing, because you mentioned that the month by month stuff, like after October, he really declines. I'm going to take a look at Chandler Jones and what he does.
Well, Chandler Jones gave an interview this week with, I think it was Vic Tafer, where he said, I know I'm not putting out the production that everybody expects me to have, but as long as my coaches are happy with me, then I'm happy. Yeah, dude. But also, like, this was a question mark coming into the season with him. He had 5 sacks in one game last year and then finished with 10. So he got 5 the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He's got a half a sack the whole season. And the whole defense is not getting pressure. The only guy that's doing it on a consistent basis is Max Crosby.
Right.
We saw it in, that famous play of whatever it was, 25 seconds, where Kyler Murray got to run around the whole field. He only had 300-pound defensive linemen rushing for Kyler Murray. This team just doesn't have a lot of pass rush and this illusion of complexity.
It's too complex for the players. I read a piece from Tashawn Reed, of The Athletic. I think I said
it actually may have been Tashawn Reed's piece with Chandler Jones, whatever it was. I saw something with him.
He basically went into it saying like he split the different coverages, and essentially the Raiders are like trying to throw a whole bunch of coverages at the offense, but it's too confusing for the defense. I don't understand it. Like I really don't. Missing Nate Hobbs is huge. Like Nate Hobbs was just so massive for that team. I don't know what to think of the secondary right now. Trevon Merrigs is okay. I don't really know what he does well. And the linebackers have just been awful. Like if Perriman's not in the game, then it's terrible. Divine Diablo, They think they got something with him, and I think they could too. But like, he's terrible in pass coverage. Jayon Brown, terrible in pass coverage. Like, it's nonstop with this. It's the same old story, Derek. I think that's the most disappointing part too. It's not like we went from some team that was, let's say like it's not like we were, I don't know, maybe like the Broncos or something like that, where they had like an all-time defense and their offense was good, and then all of a sudden they just stink once Von Miller goes and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know, man. It's just disappointing because it's just the same old stuff, and you thought it was going to be like a new regime, new look, all that, and it's just putting lipstick on a pig.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit. Like I said, we'll see what happens today, and hopefully, they get things turned around. But I think it would help if everyone on the offense was playing. So Darren Waller sits out another week. Hopefully, this is the last time.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, but who knows, man? Like, I guess he was really close to coming back this week, right?
Well, also, I wonder, why would the Packers want to trade for him if he's hurt right now?
Yeah.
Not like he's going to help you. But the Raiders
just on the off chance, man.
Yeah.
Just on the off chance that he gets healthy, then you get a Darren Waller in the second half of the season, when maybe not the NFC North, but the NFC in general is pretty open right now, with every team being some variation of 3-4 or 4-4, or whichever teams had a bye week already, which teams haven't. I don't know, but it seems like it's pretty wide open right now.
I think the whole NFL, I mean, like I always say this every week, with the exception of the Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles, I think the whole league is wide open. I still think there's hope with the expanded NFL playoffs, with the Raiders to make the playoffs, but every loss is making me think less of that. So,
dude, who would have thought? Like, actually, now I'm looking at it, at the playoff standings. Who would have thought that that the NFC East was going to be the one that's making comprised of this entire thing? It's like you got 2 6-2 teams with the Cowboys and the Giants, and then the number 1 team obviously is Philly, but then you got the Falcons and the 4 seed with the 4-4 record. The NFC South stinks.
This is why I'm not totally hating on the Raiders, because I think there's just a lot of bad teams right now. A lot of teams that changed a lot of big pieces in the offseason, quarterback position, head coach, that are just struggling right now because, I don't know, for whatever reason, they just didn't prepare enough in the offseason. Who knows?
All right. Well, I got a question for you, though, now.
I may have an answer.
Do we still need more time, or, like, are you considering just being the Raider? Do you think the Raiders should be done with Derek Carr? Because the decision they have to make is, after this season, you're going to give him a contract for 2 more years.
Yeah.
2 more years. Do you want to give him 2 more years to figure it out? Will he figure it out? Because by that time, what's he going to be? He's going to be in year 10 by the end of his contract, which is pretty crazy to think about. Or year 11. But I don't know how those, I'm trying to think of the time, but I mean, he made his rookie debut in 2014. So he's going on his 9th season right now. Yeah, man, it's just like, I really want to give that guy the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I'm a Carr fan, but then, like, man, when they don't have a good offensive line, that dude just gets scared and just tries to do too much, or tries to do too little. As a matter of fact, it's like he's arrogant. It's like, you know what? If this offensive line isn't doing anything and the defense is getting to me, I'm just going to stand in the pocket. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to remain tough. I'm going to make a throw from the pocket. It's like, no, dude, you could run and make plays with your legs. You don't have to just stand there. It's weird the thing that goes with Derek Carr, man. It's a very odd situation.
But he's not able to do that like the other quarterbacks of the division, like Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert or Russell Wilson. But by the way, Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson are not playing great right now.
Yeah.
So
Herbert hasn't been the same since the ribs.
Yeah, and I still think that it's questionable that he should have been playing in the first place with that rib injury the week after. But
yeah, anyone who was with you that day would have thought the exact same thing, or would have known that you thought that, because you kept on yelling at
I thought it was ridiculous.
You were like that Saints fan who knocked some drink into the table.
That guy was having a bad day. That guy was having a bad day.
I am so glad that I was not in the athletic club when the Saints and the Raiders were playing each other. That guy would have been insufferable.
Yeah, he would have sucked.
Oh my God! Who were they playing? Were they playing the
Panthers.
Vikings? The Panthers, that's right.
Yeah.
This dude.
He
Oh,
was like
man.
me back in my my diehard Raider days of just like every play just be like, "Fuck!
Yeah.
Oh, you kidding me?" And
Yeah.
then like he like spilled a drink, and the guy behind him was like, "What the hell, bro?" And he's like, "No, it's all good, man." He's like, "No, it's not all good."
Yeah. It was a Seahawks fan who kind of looked like David Diggs. He's like, he's like,
Well,
out of a-
if you seen blind spotting, then the shit was about to go down.
yeah. Like that guy was pissed.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
Yep. We will see what happens with the Raiders today. Niners on a bye week, and yeah, kind of a weird slate of games this week, but we will go through it now. And a thing we call wins or wangs.
Who won last week?
You did. So I needed to pay up. Do you want me to go get some cayenne pepper and do this thing right now?
We'll do it next week. I don't know. We'll have like a double down or something like
man,
that.
That's a lot of cayenne pepper for one papa.
Nah, we'll figure something new out. All right, we'll make you do some sort of, other punishment. I don't know.
What? Put a box on my head?
No, you don't have to wear a box. That was a really good one though. That's one of our most watched episodes. Huh. Highly rated, very highly rated. You did the box gave us ratings like we've never seen before.
By the way, this past week we had Steve Kerr on with Tolbert and Copes, and did you see Steve's thing about not reading the emails about carrying violations? So Steve comes on with us and he goes, apparently there was no email. Like there was an email, but I saw in the email that nothing said about carrying violations. So I guess that wasn't real. And then Tom, because Tom loves that Trump thing with Robert Saleh so much. Like, oh, it was 1,000,000 to 1 odds. No one want to take the bet.
Right.
So then Tom just starts going, oh, it was fake news then, huh, Steve? And he goes,
man.
Tom, you had to use that phrase? And he just goes, oh, it was a great email. Beautiful email. Best email I've ever seen. Then Cope starts doing his impression. Then the kicker was Steve Kerr starts doing his own Trump impression, being like, oh, it was the best email I ever seen. Like, they all started doing like dueling Trumps. It was hilarious.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that guy could be running in 2024. I think he's going to announce his re-election.
Steve Kerr?
No, Mr. Trump.
Yeah. Let's try to live in the beautiful now.
Maybe he'll get rid of daylight savings. No, we'll think of something else. I don't know. Like, is there I don't know, is there like a trend that's happening right now? I don't know. It's nothing from the NBA because there's just nothing but like the NBA is just everything's terrible coming out of the NBA right now. Like there's nothing good. It's like, hey, the Nets are just making everything an embarrassment.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one.
But is there something, I don't know, is there like a food trend going on? Has like a, like a Patrick Mahomes come out and said, oh, I eat ketchup with my steak? Like, is there something new there?
No. Should I just get like a cayenne pepper right now and just get this done with?
No.
Why not?
You got to make it special. It's just like we're thinking about this on the fly. I didn't know you lost.
I did know I lost. I just forgot to prepare something. Usually it's wings, and now that we're on this weird schedule now, I don't prepare to get the wings in advance.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure something out for next week. You don't have to do it.
I owe you potentially 2 if I lose this week, but maybe not. Maybe we'll have to trade off punishments. And as we do this thing called wins or wangs. So Alon and I did a Thursday night bet, and he won because he wanted the Texans to cover, and sure enough, they did. It was kind of a weird night, too, by the way. World Series going on between Philly and Houston, and then Thursday night between Philly and Houston.
Yeah, a little connection.
A little connection. All right, as far as the Week 9 games, so we got the Chargers going to the Atlanta Falcons, the old ATL, Hot Atlanta, if you will. And the Chargers are coming off a bye week, but they will be without Keenan Allen once again. He's the Darren Waller of the Chargers. And Mike Williams is out as well. So they'll be throwing to the likes of Austin Eckler and Josh Palmer, I believe, and DeAndre Carter, but no big play receivers that they usually have. The Chargers, however, though, are favored by 2 points, and the over-under is at 49.5. Steven?
This is an interesting one. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
But I am going to I'm going to take the Falcons to win this game. Yeah, they're getting I think are they getting Cordero Patterson back today?
They are today. Yep.
Yeah, so they're getting him back. It's a big piece of their offense. But yeah, I'll take the Falcons just to win in an upset. So give me that and give me the over.
Damn. I'm going to do the same thing. I think that the lack of wide receiver help for the Chargers is going to hamper them. So I am going to take the Falcons to win, but I'm going to take the under. It's going to be a lower scoring game. And at some point, I just got to start giving credit to the Falcons.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm not taking them to win the division by any means or make the playoffs. They're just hot right now.
You're not going to take them to win that NFC South?
Nope. Still going to take the Bucks. Got a lot of football still to play.
Boy.
Then we got the Miami Dolphins going to the Chicago Bears. And this will be a debut for traded players. Bradley Chubb, Jeff Wilson Jr. will make their debuts for the Miami Dolphins. And Chase Claypool will make his debut for the Chicago Bears. The Dolphins are 4-point favorites, and the over/under is at 45.5.
Yeah, lay the points with the Dolphins. I think they're gonna crush them. But give me the under. Yeah, I don't think the Bears offense is going to do much. I think the Dolphins offense is going to do just enough, and I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game, although I could be totally wrong on that.
I hope you are wrong, because I'm going to take the opposite of that. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win. I'm going to lay the points, but I'm going to say this Danny goes over.
Yeah, I look like a Bears fan right now with those ugly color rush orange jerseys.
No, dude, your jersey's much better. You're wearing a Bobby Boucher Waterboy jersey. That is awesome, actually.
From the
You should just
Bourbon
start
Bowl.
collecting. What's that?
From the Bourbon Bowl.
For the Bourbon Bowl.
Yeah.
What? Well, it seems like the Waterboy just needs some water. Wow, Dan. Did you figure that out all by yourself?
Yeah,
Shut up, Brent.
We watched that yesterday to kind of prepare, you know? I mean, when you wear a costume, it's like when you're leading up to wherever you're going, you want to watch the movie. I forgot how funny Musburger and Fouts were in that one.
Well, it's the
like,
last game of the season, man.
we know. It's the last game of the season. Got to pull out all the stops. We know.
I love having real broadcasters in movies. Like Al Michaels and Bob Costas in basketball is still hilarious to me.
Oh, yeah. That one's
You're
great.
excited? Feel these nipples. All right. Moving on. The Carolina Panthers take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals had a stinker last week against the Browns on Monday Night Football. You picked that correct, Steven. And the Bengals are 7-point favorites. Still no Jamar Chase, but 7-point favorites, and the over/under is at 42.5.
This is a tough one because I want to say the Bengals are going to crush them, but at the same time, like, they did not look good without Jamar Chase.
That is
And
true.
That's just plain and simple. But I'm going to go against the football pick'em that I'm in because I took the Panthers to cover, even though I think the Bengals are going to absolutely win. But you know what? I think the Bengals are going to win. I'm going to lay the points with them. And, yeah, give me the over on this one. Give me the over.
I concur with everything you just said.
Yeah.
Then we got the Green
How
Bay
about that
Pack-
throw for P.J. Walker? Real quick. That throw for P.J. Walker was just unbelievable. That was last week, right?
the DJ Moore catch?
Yeah. That, I mean,
Yeah.
was that last
was it?
week?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm kind of like losing track of my weeks. Anyway,
But DJ Moore, you got to keep your helmet on, my man.
yeah, I know, but like the emotion's running so high.
I get it, but that killed you in the end.
It did. It really did. But man, what a throw by PJ Walker. Like that
Great
was
throw.
just a
Great
that was
throw,
just
great
a
catch.
dime.
Packers on a 4-game skid are going to D-Town. That's Detroit, people, as they take on the Lions. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites, despite not trading for any big-name receivers at the deadline, and the over/under is at 49.5.
Is DeAndre Swift playing?
Yes, but in a limited role.
I'm still going to take the over on that one. And
Alrighty.
Detroit's 4 point. Oh, that's tough. This is really tough. You know what? I'm going to have the Packers to win, but I think the Lions are going to cover. I think it's going to be just a devastatingly close game to where the Lions lose. And you're going to have, like, I've been listening to this podcast around the NFL, which is actually pretty good with Dan Hansis and Mark Sessler and Greg Rosenthal.
Yep.
They have this segment where they just have sad Dan Campbell and they play like some violins in the background during his post-game pressers because he always is so emotional. And I think you're going to get another one of those today.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I am going to take the Packers to win. They got to win. They just got to win this game.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers knows how to beat the Lions. I think he's only lost them a few times in his career. Couldn't even tell you the top of my head. Probably like maybe he's lost to him twice. But I'm going to lay the points with them. But I'm going to lay the under because the Packers don't score a lot of points. In order for them to win this game, they may have to have more of a defensive effort.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right, and then we got those Raiders going to
Yeah.
Jacksonville. And no Darren Waller today, as we stated, but the Raiders are still 2.5-point favorites. It's crazy to me that I think the Raiders have been favored in most of their games, but yet they are 2-5. And the over-under is at 48.
Derek Carr, by the way, is 1-7 when they are a road favorite against the spread. So
Shit.
1-7 against the spread. That's something.
That's a terrible
to,
stat.
that is something to monitor. But I am. This is. Oh.
You always sound so confident when you make these picks.
Well, it's this one. It's the Raiders, though. You know,
Yeah, I know.
like
I know.
this is. If I was like really betting, I would not even touch this game. Screw it. Just give me the Raiders to win, and I'll take the over.
Lay the points as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to do the same against my better judgment. Every week we do this, and they seem to disappoint. So I want to be surprised whatever happens. The Raiders are like, I watch, Texas football as well, and it's very similar. Even though Texas has a better record than the Raiders right now, anything can happen. They could lose. They could dominate a team. They could get shut out. Anything's possible.
Yeah. What? Like, is Josh Jacobs and Bijan Robinson like the same guy?
Bijan Robinson's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole team in the second half just crumbles.
He's
Anyway,
number 7 on Mel Kiper's big board.
the way too early big board.
The way too early big board. I looked it up. It was on ESPN Plus.
Glad you know that. The Colts, without Jonathan Taylor and with Sam Ellinger, go to the New England Patriots today, where the Patriots are 5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 40.5.
Yeah, give me the under and lay the points with the Patriots. Just, I don't trust this Colts team at all.
I am with you on that one, Steven. We are simpatico on that one. All
Yeah.
right, Buffalo at the Jets.
Ooh. Oh.
The Bills are 11-point favorites. And
11?
the over/under is 46. Yes.
Damn. So
Even
the
with
money
the
really
Jets-
came in on the money really came in on the Jets because according to my numbers,
According to my
'cause in the-
sources.
in the football pick'em they have like what the betting
Yeah.
odds start at.
Yep.
They were originally 12.5-point underdogs. So damn, some money coming in on them, huh?
As of this morning, from what I saw, the Bills are 11-point favorites.
Yeah, give me just lay the points with the Bills and yeah, I think they're gonna crush them. And then even though the Jets are extremely hot right now, but I think they're gonna really get humbled. And but they are with yeah, give me the Bills and give me the over.
I am going to see. Originally, I thought that the Jets were going to cover, but now I'm kind of talking myself out of it. I am going to take the Bills. I'm going to lay the points, but 46. Yeah. I got to see what this Jets offense looks like without Breece Hall. Though we saw it last week, and they didn't look very good. Zach Wilson throwing the ball all over the place against the Patriots.
Well, the question is, can this defense that the Jets have, which is really what's keeping them, which is really what their bread and butter is right now, is their defense. Like, can they perform against what looks like the best offense in the league? Probably. Sauce Gardner versus Stephon Diggs, that's going to be a hell of a matchup.
That is a good matchup, but in the end, I'm still going to take the Bills to win. I'm going to lay the points, but I'm going to say under.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to say under. Then we got the Minnesota Vikings going to the Washington Commanders. And TJ Hawkinson will make his debut as a Viking. The Vikings are 3-point favorites, and the over-under is at 43.5.
Why is it so low? Does that number feel low to you?
The over-under?
Yeah, no, the spread. Like, why 3-point favorites?
Well, go on. Well, what's your pick?
Well, I'm gonna lay the points with the Vikings. I think they're gonna crush them here. And
All right.
give me the under.
This is why, Steven. I'm taking the Commanders to win today. How you like that? Kirk Cousins going back to Washington for the first time, I believe. I think so. Yeah.
That can't be right.
How long has he been in Minnesota?
Kirk Cousins hasn't been. He's been there since like 2018.
I want to say he hasn't been in Washington since then.
Come on,
Mr.
he's
Mr.
had
Cousin. While you look that up,
Yes, I will look that up.
I'm taking Washington to win. I just think they're hot right now, and the Minnesota Vikings offense is good, but they're also a dome team, and they got to play in the hard conditions of FedEx Field, if they still call it that, while Daniel Snyder tries to find a team person to buy his team. Maybe Bezos.
Oh wow. Okay, so you are correct. I think.
Well,
this isn't his first time facing Washington,
but probably the first time going to Washington.
Let me just double check. So
I think it's correct.
Washington, 2019.
By the way, Ernie thinks my punishment should be mayonnaise in the coffee.
Oh,
I don't drink coffee, Ernie.
yeah.
I'm not gonna start now.
That's what a way to. You know what? You could just like. Ooh.
Yeah, no.
No, they were. They were at home in Minnesota. So yeah, first time going back to Washington. Wow.
And I think that the commies get their revenge. I'm taking Taylor Heineke today to beat Kirk Cousins.
Dog,
baby. Then we got the Seahawks going to the Arizona Cardinals, the surprising NFC West leading Seattle Seahawks. Going to Arizona, there was rumors, I guess, today that the Cardinals were listening to offers for DeAndre Hopkins, but he's still going to remain with the team, and the Cardinals are 1.5-point favorites, and the over-under is at 49. I'm getting the sense that a lot of these teams that are leading their divisions right now, people are not buying, whether it's the Falcons or the Vikings a little bit, or even the Seahawks. I think that a lot of teams are not giving in to the early leaders.
Yeah. No, I think this is, at first I would have taken the Seahawks, but really I think this is a division game. I think weird things are going to happen. I'll take the Cardinals to win, and I'll take the over as well. Seahawks offense is good, man. I like Kenneth Walker is awesome. Geno is looking honestly like if you had to create like a tier list with tier 1, he's looking like a tier 2 quarterback right now. He's looking that good.
Maybe comeback player of the year right now, but I'm with you, Steven. The Cardinals got to start playing to their potential at some point, so I'm going to take the Cardinals to win today, and the Seahawks eventually got to start to slide a little bit. And I'm going to take the over, though. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And then we got a rematch of a playoff game a year ago, but both teams are below 500 and disappointing. You got the Rams, and you got the Bucks. And the Bucks are favored by 3, and the over-under is at 42.5.
Bucks favored by 3, over under 42.
Both teams are similar right now, but the Buccaneers last played on Thursday night a week ago against the Ravens.
Yeah, it looked like money was coming in on the Rams because it was originally 2.5, or coming in on the Buccaneers. Excuse me. God, this is a tough one because I could see Tampa Bay winning through a field goal. I'm just going to go against the grain. Give me the over. I mean, these two offenses have sucked.
Wow.
Give me the over. I just think it's going to turn into one of these weird games where it's just, even though it's not expected. And you know what? Lay the points with the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm only taking the Bucks because they had more time to prep. So I'm gonna take them to win. I'm gonna lay the points, but these two offenses, I can't in my good heart trust that they're gonna go over. So I'm gonna go under.
Who's even the running back for the Buccaneers right now?
Fournette.
It is still Fournette. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Cam Akers coming back for the Rams today, even though that was supposed to be a done deal that he was never coming back there.
Yeah, what happened?
I guess they made up.
Aw.
Yeah. Kind of nice, actually.
It's really a feel-good story for your Friday or for your Sunday.
It is. Titans going to KC for the Sunday night game. We still don't know if Ryan Tannehill is going to play, and it's leaning in the direction that Malik Willis will make his second career start. But Kadarius Toney will make his debut with the Chiefs today. Another trade that went down this past, or a couple weeks ago, actually. 12.5-point favorites for these Chiefs, and the over/under is at 45.5.
You know, I'm actually going to do a weird one here. This is a really low percentage type of bet, but I think this is going to happen. I'm going to lay the points with the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs to win, but I think the under is going to hit.
You and I think alike, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going under as well. 45 and a half with a rookie quarterback. I'm not trusting that.
You laying the points with the Chiefs?
Yes.
Damn, that's gonna be a fun one. Oh man,
it's a one-dimensional offense with the Titans. They're playing well on defense, but no.
that's gonna come back, dude. Oh my God, there's gonna be a situation where the total is gonna be at like 42, and the Chiefs already have like a huge lead, and then all of a sudden, like Malik Willis just drives downfield and gives them a field goal. Oh my God, I'm just picturing it now. This is gonna be disappointment for both of us.
We'll see. And then Monday night, we got the Ravens going to the Saints. Roquan Smith will make his debut with the Ravens, and the Ravens are 2-point favorites, and the over-under is at 47.
Doesn't that number seem a bit low, too? 2-point favorites only?
Yeah, road game, New Orleans.
Nah, you know what? I'm going to... I think the reason also for that number is because the Saints just did that against the Raiders, and that sometimes sways what happens with Vegas. So I don't think the Saints are a very good team. Give me the Ravens, and you know what? Give me the under in this one. So lay the points with the Ravens. Give me the under.
All right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the over, though.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I'm going to lay the points, and I'll take the over.
Probably a bad move on my part, considering it's like prime time, and Lamar always seems to go off from prime time. And
yeah, but you know what? That Saints defense is playing better.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So there you go. There are picks for Week 9. Before we get out of here, let me just talk a little about something. So Kyrie Irving.
Oh, hang on. Let me get the music down for this. This is a serious topic. Okay,
yeah. Kyrie Irving suspended 5 games for posting that link to that anti-Semitic documentary, and a lot went into this week about him not apologizing and whatnot, and he was given multiple opportunities. He's going to meet with Adam Silver, and every time he gave some ridiculous answers saying I'm a beacon of light, or I know where I come from, whatever. In the end, he was suspended 5 games. And I have a hard time believing that he'll ever be playing for the Nets again. I just think it's just too much. And I think that, they gave a list of, all the criteria that Kyrie Irving needs to meet before he can play with the Nets again. Mm-hmm. And, he very well could do all that stuff, but I just don't think that he'll ever be back in the good graces of the Brooklyn community, which is a lot of Jewish people. And let me just say this too. There's a lot of Jewish hate going on right now. There's a lot of hate in our world regardless. But for whatever reason, in the last few weeks, you've seen stuff from Kanye West and you've seen stuff from Kyrie Irving. And I don't know if many people know this, but I'm Jewish, and I'm proud to be Jewish. And I don't understand this whole mentality or ideology that Jews control the world and that they dictate what goes on in the media, and I just don't understand all that. I think it's actually bullshit. To be quite honest with you, everyone has different plight, and I'm not comparing mine to what other people go through. But I will say this: I grew up in the Deep South, not the Deep South, but I grew up in Houston, Texas, the Bible Belt, and I've heard it all. You want to come up with Holocaust jokes? You want to come up with, oven jokes? You want to come up with, yarmulke jokes? I've heard it all. I've heard it all, and I'm tough enough to not care about most things. But just this idea that Jews are responsible for a lot of bad things in the world is just ridiculous to me. So if you're down with what Kyrie Irving is spewing out there, then I think you're anti-Semitic, and I think you're a hypocrite. And that's all I got to say about that.
Do you think you watched the documentary?
Yes, because I think there's a phrase in it. This documentary.
It's 3 hours long.
Yeah, and it makes references to what Hitler said. And I don't, Hitler hated a lot of people, not just Jewish people, but I don't know why, that's it seems like a lot of Hitler rhetoric is being brought up these days. But there's a phrase, I guess, in the documentary that says, "I know where I come from." So I think Kyrie Irving did watch the documentary.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, the whole thing, it's just ridiculous. Shout out to Nick Friedel for really pushing him
Yes.
at the pressers. Yeah, that was awesome. I sent him a text, he didn't respond. Uh um nah, man, the entire thing is just I don't Kyrie is just I don't think he's like a bad dude. I don't know what he's trying to be though. Like I'm a beacon of light. Like, dude, what? What are you talking about? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't really get anything that he's doing. But the whole thing is just the whole situation. Like, did you see the article, like the details from Ramona Shelburne and Woj and what went into the suspension?
I know a little bit of it, but I know that Adam Silver wanted to kind of let the Brooklyn Nets do their thing before he stepped in, and
Right.
I thought they handled things as well as they could.
Joe Tsai did everything that he could to possibly, like, I guess he watched the documentary so that he could like help educate Kyrie as to why it was something that he shouldn't be promoting.
Mhm.
Um, that was also something that got me too. It like regardless of whether you apologize or not, and you understand that you put out content that's hateful, and he wrote that really long apology on Instagram. Like I get all that, but the idea that you could post something and just feel still that there'd be no remorse from it. Like, what am I promoting? I'm not promoting anything. Like, what do you think I'm promoting? And it's like you're anything you post when you have at least a million followers, you are promoting something. Like that's what you're doing. That's what Twitter's for a
Mhm.
lot of people. So like I hadn't heard of this documentary until now
Yeah.
because Kyrie promoted it.
Yep.
like that's why. So that's also something that got me. Like that wasn't really a part of the apology either. Was like I understand like the gravity of what social media can bring. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't think he understands that still. And the whole thing with like Joe Tsai, the Nets owner, I think I think I think he maybe sent him multiple texts trying to convene with him and trying to talk to him. Kyrie didn't respond. The whole
Mm.
thing with like the Anti-Defamation League that he was trying to donate to, they ended up just
Yeah.
rescinding that offer. They didn't want that, or not rescinding it, rather. That'd be if they were making the donation and they took it back. That's what we're rescinding it. But they did not accept the donation because of everything that he said. Like I don't know, man. That whole presser, it's just strange. It really is, the whole situation. I don't know, man. Like Kyrie
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a bad dude, but like
Well, but also Kyrie just does whatever the hell he wants,
this is
as we've seen
true.
in the past. And Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have been given the freedom to do whatever they want in the Brooklyn Nets organization because they went there and they picked Steve Nash, and now Steve Nash has been fired, and I'm sure he is just loving life now. I kind of see why Kevin Durant wanted to leave the Nets now because I think that it's one of those situations where you're best friends with somebody, but at the same time you're like, I can't be around this guy anymore. And I like to think that with Kevin Durant, but who knows? I do appreciate Kevin Durant giving his opinion on the situation and him saying that he doesn't condone anything that Kyrie Irving has done. I appreciate LeBron James saying the same thing. At the same time, though, you see people. This is why I can't stand Twitter now. There's people that are saying, "Oh, LeBron James and Kevin Durant are sellouts now." Come on, everybody. Let's love everybody. Like, let's not. I don't understand it. I think that we're living in a day and age now where we're all trying to grow together as human beings and people, and but yet we still there's certain things that I don't know. There's just bullshit that is still spewed. So I
Yep.
don't want to get too up in arms about it, but it's just something that's bothered me lately. And yeah, like I said, if you support Kyrie Irving, then I think you're a hypocrite, and I think you are anti-Semitic, and I think you got to do some learning of why you think that way.
Yeah, agreed. And the people that are standing behind him don't really know what's going on. Like that's why, you got to get those people. That's why man on the street reporters are so important. For example, like when you're at like the reason that people are at like rallies or something like that, like, when they're saying they're anti-abortion or whatever, they're pro-life and all that sort of stuff. Then you go to the rallies and you have a man on the street interview. Then you ask them, okay, well, why do you think that? And then you question them a little bit, and then they start running in circles or talking in circles, and they really don't have an actual reason other than this is just what's popular amongst my peers right now. And it's like, it's kind of the same thing, I think, with Kyrie. The thing with social media too, I don't know the ages of these people. Like, what's the age? Like, when people in their, their early 20s, like, they have a lot to learn still. And I feel like there are a lot of, like, maybe teenagers on there, all these sort of, especially on Instagram. Instagram's the one where it's like, you'll go to this, like, a tweet about, or a post about Kanye, and then you go to the comments, and then you see all this stuff defending him, and you open it up, and it's like high school class of 2024. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You're 15 years old. Like, seriously? Yeah. It's just, that's the thing though. Like, you influence younger people. Like, that's who they influence. It's not adults. Like, we understand stuff, but, like, the influence that social media has on these younger kids, it's really what's driving it. I think it's ridiculous, all of it.
No, I agree, man, and I'll end on this. The thought process, or people that are posting the idea that, well, Jewish people are, they've been given opportunities, and they have, they control everything, and it's all just stereotypes. It really is. It's the same thing as saying, well, they're they got big noses and all the other shit that you want to throw at the old stupid stereotypes. It's wrong. Like, I never in Hebrew school was I given the keys to rule the world. It's just a stupid ideology that I think that people need to get past.
Yep.
Anyway, send my piece on that, and I hope you guys agree with that. And hopefully Twitter becomes a better place. But thanks to Elon Musk, we see a lot of bullshit these days.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But still watch us on here and try to avoid all the other terrible stuff on there.
Let us be the reason you pay $8 a month.
Ugh, not doing that. And on that note, Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
It's just our opinion